Children's and Household Tales. Collected by the Brothers Grimm. Little Brother and Little Sister. This video is not intended to present an atmospheric narrative. Rather, it is created for those who seek to read the original stories as they were published in 1812, faithfully translated from German. An interpretation is provided at the end for deeper insight. Little brother took his little sister by the hand and said, "Since mother passed away, we haven't had a single happy hour. The stepmother beats us every day, and when we go to her, she kicks us away with her foot. She gives us nothing to eat but hard crusts of bread. Even the little dog under the table has it better, she sometimes throws him something good. Dear God, if only our mother knew. Come, let's go away together." They went away together and came into a large forest, and they were so sad and so tired that they sat down in a hollow tree, resigned to starving there. They fell asleep together, and when they woke up in the morning, the sun had already risen high and was shining hotly into the hollow tree. "Little sister," said little brother after a while, "I'm terribly thirsty. If I only knew of a little brook nearby, I would go and drink from it. It even sounds to me like I can hear one bubbling." "What's the use?" replied the little sister. "Why do you want to drink, when we're going to starve anyway?" But little brother said nothing and climbed out, and since he was still holding his sister tightly by the hand, she had to climb out with him. But the wicked stepmother was a witch, and when she had seen the two children go away, she had followed them and enchanted a clear brook nearby to spring from the rock near the tree. Its gentle babbling was meant to lure the children in to drink, but whoever drank from it would be turned into a fawn. Soon, little brother came to the brook with his sister, and when he saw the water sparkling over the stones, his desire to drink grew even stronger, and he wanted to drink from it. But his sister was afraid. She thought the brook was speaking with its babbling and said, "Who drinks from me becomes a fawn, who drinks from me becomes a fawn." So she begged her little brother not to drink from the water. "I don't hear anything," said little brother, "only how lovely the water babbles. Let me drink." And with that, he lay down, bent over, and drank. And as the first drop touched his lips, he was turned into a fawn. The little sister wept and wept. The witch was angry that she hadn't succeeded in getting the girl to drink, too. After 3 days of crying, the sister stood up, gathered reeds in the forest, and braided a soft rope. Then she tied the fawn to it and led him along with her. She also found a cave for him, carried moss and leaves inside, and made him a soft bed. In the morning, she went out with him to where the tender grass grew, and she gathered the most beautiful of it. He would eat it from her hand, and the fawn was content and played on the hills. In the evening, when little sister was tired, she laid her head on the fawn's back. It was her pillow, and so she slept. And if only little brother still had his human form, it would have been a wonderful life. So they lived for many years in the forest. One time, the king went hunting and lost his way in the woods. There, he found the girl with the animal, and was amazed at her beauty. He lifted her onto his horse and took her with him, and the fawn ran beside them on its leash. At the royal court, she was treated with the highest honor. Lovely maidens were assigned to serve her, but she was more beautiful than any of them. The fawn she never let out of her sight, and she cared for it dearly. Soon after, the queen passed away, and the sister was married to the king and lived in joy and splendor. The stepmother, however, heard of her good fortune. She had believed the little sister had long since been eaten by wild animals in the forest, but they had not harmed her, and now she was queen. The witch was so furious that she thought only of how she could ruin her happiness. The next year, when the queen gave birth to a beautiful prince, and the king was away hunting, the witch appeared in the form of a chambermaid and entered the room where the queen lay. "The bath is ready for you," she said. "It will do you good and give you strength. Come, before it gets cold." She led her into the bathhouse. Once the queen had stepped inside, she locked the door behind her. Inside, a fire from hell had been set, and the beautiful queen was suffocated. The witch had a real daughter, whom she dressed up to look exactly like the queen and placed in her bed. In the evening, when the king returned, he did not know that it was a false wife lying there. But that night, the nurse saw the true queen enter the room. She went to the cradle, took up the child, held it to her breast and fed it. Then she fluffed its little bed, laid the child back in, and tucked it in. After that, she went to the corner where the fawn lay and stroked its back. Then she silently vanished again. This happened every night. But one night, she spoke. "How is my child? How is my dear fawn? This is my first night. I'll come twice more, then never again." She did just as before. The nurse quietly told the king what she had seen. The next night, the king kept watch and also saw how the queen came and heard her say, "How is my child? How is my dear fawn? This is my second night, I'll come once more, then never again." But he didn't dare to speak to her. On the third night, he watched again. This time, the queen said, "How is my child? How is my dear fawn? Now I come this once, then never again." Then the king could hold back no longer. He jumped up and embraced her. As he touched her, she became alive again, fresh and rosy. The false queen was led into the forest, where the wild animals tore her to pieces. The wicked stepmother was burned at the stake. And as the fire consumed her, the fawn was transformed, and little brother and little sister were reunited and lived happily ever after. A possible interpretation considering the time period. The fairy tale Little Brother and Little Sister conveys a variety of deeply symbolic and moral themes that reflect the values and tensions of early 19th century European society, particularly in a patriarchal and religiously influenced context. The wicked stepmother and the power struggles within the family. The cruel stepmother is a common figure in fairy tales of this era and represents internal family conflicts, jealousy, and the threat of illegitimate or misused authority, especially maternal authority. Her role as a witch further emphasizes the fear of female power that operates outside accepted norms. In many such tales, evil is associated with women who act independently or maliciously outside the idealized roles of nurturing wives and mothers. Sibling loyalty and the ideal of pure, innocent devotion. The unwavering bond between brother and sister is central to the story. Their love is pure and self-sacrificing, unaffected by envy, gender roles, or rivalry. This reflects a romanticized ideal of familial loyalty and emotional virtue, which was considered morally elevating during a time of social uncertainty. The sister's long-suffering and nurturing role particularly highlight her as a model of feminine virtue, obedient, caring, patient, and selfless. Transformation and the loss of male agency. The brother's transformation into a fawn can be read symbolically as the loss of male autonomy or power, placing him in a vulnerable, dependent position. He is unable to protect his sister or assert his will. In contrast, it is the sister who becomes the active caretaker. This reversal of roles may reflect the disruption of traditional hierarchies during times of war, economic change, or family collapse. However, he is eventually restored, just as traditional structures are reaffirmed in the end. The silent, suffering woman and Christian patience. The sister, like many fairy tale heroines of the time, endures in silence. Her suffering is long but dignified, and she is ultimately vindicated not through violence or confrontation, but through endurance and virtue. This aligns with Christian ideals of patience, sacrifice, and quiet strength that were especially imposed on women. She is rewarded with status and love only after her trials are completed. The theme of resurrection and divine justice. The queen's return from death and the eventual downfall of the impostor and the stepmother reflects strong Christian themes of resurrection, truth prevailing over lies, and divine justice. The supernatural restoration of order suggests that even if injustice and deception succeed for a time, truth and righteousness will be vindicated in the end. Conclusion. Little Brother and Little Sister is a deeply symbolic tale about innocence under threat, feminine virtue, and the power of familial love. It reflects the ideals of early 19th century society, women as patient sufferers and moral anchors, men as protectors, even if temporarily weakened, and evil punished through divine or supernatural means. At the same time, it also subtly critiques the fragility of justice, its delay, its dependence on appearances, and the risks that come with being unable to speak or defend oneself. The story ultimately affirms traditional values, but not without showing how easily they can be overturned, and how much suffering must occur before they are restored. What do you think? Was this just a bedtime story, or does it hide a deeper meaning? Do you have your own interpretation? Share your thoughts in the comments, I'd love to hear them. If you enjoyed this, consider subscribing for more stories and discussions. And if you have any constructive feedback, let me know, I'm always looking to improve.